It's actually mad, Arsenal fans. We defend our Premier League title this week, starting against Coventry City. Like I said, we're the champions, and it's sunk in. I think we're starting to let our nuts hang, puff out chests as a fan base, our players, our managers, in a healthy way, people. In that we've no longer, I wouldn't say we've got that imposter syndrome, but in the last 3 years, obviously we won it at the fourth time of asking, but in the last 3 years, we've been so close, yet so far. 3 different seasons, 3 different reasons, ups and downs. We know we're a good team. We know we've been moving towards that. We know we've displayed ourselves, obviously, in those years as one of the better teams in the Premier League and had some good nights out in the Champions League. Whatever they say about my manager, he's one of the best in the game in the most humblest way. As a collective and a cohesive team unit, there's a lot of things to envy about us. Set pieces, the way we defend, the way we're off the ball in all phases, etc. And again, while we've got a lot of criticisms about our attackers, whether that's certain players' ability, not bringing people in, needing to keep people fit, greater consistency throughout a season, because our attacking players had their moments, but that level of consistency wasn't quite there. We still got 121 goals, in which I think I'm approaching another season in which I know we will score goals, but I don't know who will score the goals. And you look in this 4 year period, or even going back to 2022, 23, up until this point, Saka was the one consistent variable. The last 2 seasons, he's been injured, etc., etc. I think Trossard and Martinelli was light and day. I think Trossard performed up here, and I think Martinelli performed down there, innit? But if you look at the numbers in the Premier League, only Gyökeres has provided anything of note, if I'm really honest with you, this season just gone. 14 in the league, 21 all comps, in which is madness, people. And again, like it's we really got to do this again, man. We got to do this again. Like I said, when you're going so close but so far, you do have, no matter how motivated you are in life, and motivation is subjective, you do have that sort of inkling in your mind that, oh, is it ever going to happen? Are we going to get over the line? And I think we needed it as a fan base, and as a football club, and from all fragments, and I give my players and everybody connected, the fans as well, we dragged ourselves over the line. It was so ugly, it was beautiful. And that's the maddest thing, yeah, and that, we criticize, or a way of improving is breaking down low blocks. Everybody says we don't want to play football, but no one wants to play football against us. Breaking down low blocks, for me, it's really an attack. I know there's other variables in which I'll go about, yeah, but for me, it's attack, because I've always believed in our midfield. Bruno G's added another layer. For me, I think it's a case of Arteta's got the ingredients in midfield. It's just down to him being the chef. Lewis Skelly, Bruno G looks, Miles Lewis Skelly was amazing against City. Yes, it's pre-season, but he's done good in pre-season, continued off the back of a great end to the season last year, and he started against City, and you'd imagine he starts against Coventry. Bruno G, another layer. Zubimendi was great in the first half of the season, fell by the wayside, but, with him and Rice in particular, with now Lewis Skelly in midfield on a more consistent basis, and obviously with Bruno G, losses of form, injuries, needing to rest players. This is why you got a big kind of squad. Defense, the only question mark is injuries, in it, really and truly, primarily around William Saliba. And if we're going to bring somebody in or not, we don't know. Obviously, that's become the centerpiece. You look to the right-hand side, Benjamin White and Timber. We're led to believe Timber's a few weeks and moments away from being fit. Obviously, Benjamin White, I think he was very good against City. He's been fit. But if I was a betting man, you'd expect Timber and White to pick up some knocks. And the same, actually, for Calafiori, who's had another great preseason, and obviously in Capier. But midfield is solid. Defense is solid. On paper, I like our attacking options, but they're the ones that bring uncertainty. And to go to another level, we need to, for me, I think we need to bring people in. Obviously, big up Zolis. I think he's first choice now. You never know, but I think, Martinelli weren't in the match day squad. Zolis started and got the 90 minutes. So that's Zolis. I'm all happy for him. But at this moment in time, it's going to be a hindsight thing if he's a level raiser. It's like not at immediate point of entry. And you look through our attack, there's different variables. For Gyökeres, obviously, Gyökeres and Kai Havertz, it's weird because I think they're both good tools in the toolbox, in that Gyökeres can do the general play thing. It's butters. And you don't really want to see that. As long as he's scoring goals, you don't really care. Kai Havertz, general play, the modern system up front in the number 9 role, he does it to perfection. And he's got the consistency to score goals. But you're not necessarily expecting him to score goals. You're not expecting Gyökeres to be great on the ball and all the other facets of a modern day striker. Eze, it's more just greater consistency. Odegaard is fitness and greater consistency. But Bukayo Saka, it's more of a fitness thing, and it all falls into place. The left-hand side, big up Zolis, but there's an element of an unknown. For me, Noni Madueke and Martinelli, whether Martinelli's here or not, they're more tools in a toolbox for me, in that, I love Martinelli. If he leaves, he leaves, in it, like, because you ain't really got a leg to stand on. But I don't look at potential anymore and think about 2022, 23. Of course, I would love for the penny to drop, but to a certain degree, you need to accept people for what they are. And he's a tool in a toolbox. I think I know what I'm getting with Martinelli. Somehow, despite him not being that 2022, 23 guy, he does have a knack of getting goals or assists in big games. You know, if there's a game away from home and we're winning 1-0 and it's one of those cagey kind of games where they're hitting the post, right, is making bare saves, we're in our own half, because that's what football's about. I might draw for Martinelli off the bench to help us defensively. Or if they're pouring everybody forward, including their fullbacks, Martinelli and Noni Madueke, these are kind of options. I don't necessarily bet on them to score goals and whatnot. Like, do you get where I'm going? I think we've got a lot of uncertainty, and that's what my thing is, really just injuries. My thing is just injuries, our attack, you know, whether it's tactical, players playing to a better form, as I've been alluding to. That's my thing. I think everything else is great. Obviously, keeping people fit, that's another thing. You know, we're in an unknown territory now. I think we're going to be marked at set pieces purely because of the narrative. You know, we're not the only ones that score from set pieces. You know, again, we live in a day and age of systemic football. How many teams in the Prem play beautiful football? How many beautiful games do you see? It's definitely not the top 6 clubs, if I'm completely honest with you. And again, we live in a modern day where wingers are narrow, strikers are dropping into midfield, inverted fullbacks. As I said earlier, no one's trying to play open up against us and low and plays low blocks. So that's more for the tacticalness of Mikel Arteta. I don't want to draw too many conclusions on Manchester City, the game against City, because I think City looked a mess defensively. In attack, well, their attack was redundant because their supply line in midfield was stifled. We were better than them on and off the ball. But if that's anything to go by, I'm all for it, people. So, and also on top of that, I genuinely feel the only enemies to Arsenal can be ourselves. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way, in that we've proved it. We've got over the line, and that presents different contexts. But I don't know what any of our traditional rivals, the Liverpools, the Cities, the Man Uniteds, etc., new managers / newish, there's always going to be a challenger. And, you know, you look at Chelsea, they've got one game a week. And, you know, that helped us actually have a title challenge. So I don't know what they're doing. I know with us, if we won the league where it weren't pretty and a lot of the kind of areas of improvement that I've been speaking about, imagine what happens if, I know it's not as easy as this, but you do this and left-hand side's firing, right-hand side's firing, the strikers are firing, midfield is sorted, people stay fit. We're running away with this league, if I'm completely honest with you, to the fact of I want everything naturally, but in my heart, I believe we do a domestic double, Premier League and an FA Cup. I love the Champions League. I've given up dreaming about that, but I do think the only enemy is us. Like, if we just, I know it's cliche, but if we just focus on ourselves, forget last season, as much as, you know, we don't want to, but forget last season. If we want to win the league, then you have to focus on beating Coventry City. There's going to be highs and turns and twists and lows, and obviously getting over the line don't mean you're going to do it all the time, innit, people? But I think for the fan base and maybe for the players, you know, when it kind of goes left or we have those bumps and bruises on the road, we can react, in which the team did. You saw in April was horrible. The way they reacted was phenomenal. If I would say there's any surprises with, you know, the last 2-3 years at my football club, in my just for me as a football fan, I know we ain't won the Champions League, but it'd be the Champions League. Whether we've lost like against PSG in the last, 3-4 times we played them, we've coped. We've obviously beaten Real Madrid, dealt with Atletico Madrid. We've earned ourselves to, I wouldn't say the favourites of the Champions League. You're going to go with the bigger clubs, but, you know, the traditional powerhouses in Europe. But in terms of what you see in the team ethos, we're there. But it's a different scenario now. Like, we got a target on our back. And my challenge to the boys is do something I haven't seen Arsenal do. We've never gone back to back. Yes, I know we done it in the 1930s, but in the present day, Arsenal fans, young and old, let's go and do that. Let's make up for lost time, because when, you know, I shared some great moments on YouTube with you lot, Arsenal fans winning the league. Obviously, as early as the Community Shield, obviously, you know, the celebrations after winning the league. But and I mean this from a place of love, I feel like when I got beyond that, there was an element of, well, we could have done this 2-3 times in the last 4 years. Like, in this last 4-year period, including the one we won the league, we might have been able to win a Prem or two on top of what we did. We might have been able to pick up some domestic trophies. And that's my challenge. Let's make up for lost time. Obviously, let's try and achieve something we've never seen in this football club. I've never seen you win the Champions League. And this is all from a place of love. I've never seen you win the Champions League. I've seen my team get to the final. I remember 06 vividly, as much as, you know, 2026. I've never seen us go back to back. So let's just earn the right, people. Like, there's going to be twists and turns. We're going to be scapegoated in the media. I wish you lot and myself wouldn't react to it, but it is what it is. But I just find this a different kind of scenario. It's a different realm. Last year was more hunger. Like, fuck it, we've had enough. Like, we've looked ourselves in a mirror, we've forgiven ourselves for the past. We know the future brings uncertainty, but in this present moment, like, nah, man, it's time to get this Premier League. And I credit everybody, from the fans traveling up and down, fans around the world, the players. You dragged it over the line. Even when we were shooting ourselves in the foot, we won it 7 points clear. Now, there was times of twists and turns, people, but let's seize the moment. But I do think it's weird, man. We've got a target on our backs. We are the Premier League champions. It's a different kind of realm. Like, again, I don't think Arsenal players and my manager are going to be complacent, but there is that kind of element. You know, it's time to lock in, really and truly. It really is, from all fragments of the football club. So it's a weird one, man, but let's go to it, man. And football's a weird game, innit? Like, whatever team you support, we're about to begin a 12-month campaign where 11 strangers week in, week out dictate your mood, innit? So it's a bad thing.